Okay, quick thing before I start this video. If you don't have a bike stand, which I haven't had one for most of my life, I would recommend doing this step first. Put in your fork, headset, and stem, then put your bars and seat on, then flip the bike upside down and put everything else on. For my next bike build, which will be my We the People Trust, I'll do the whole thing without a bike stand so you guys can see how I do it. What's up, everybody? It's Rob from the Basement Bike Shop with video 3 of our Hitmain build series, where we're installing the BMX integrated headset, fork, and stem. Now we're installing this into our Mafia Hitmain frame, where we previously installed the crank and the bottom bracket. If you'd like to check out those videos, you can click on the link to the playlist, or there'll be a link in the description. The parts we're installing today are the Mafia Hitmain fork, Snafu Fontanel integrated headset, and a Snafu V2 Topload stem. Now when you take the headset out of the box, it's pretty much lined up in the order that it goes. I try to keep it in that order. You have the bottom bearing, and then the fork race. Then you have the top cap, the top cap spacer, the compression cap, and then the top bearing. Now the fork race is only needed if you have an older fork where the integrated race is not built into the fork. The Mafia fork does have the integrated race built in, so we're not going to need it. But I'll show you what to do in case you have an older fork that doesn't have the integrated race built in. Now I've never owned a race setting tool. I've always used like a piece of PVC pipe. 1.25 inches usually works better than this 1.5 inches I'm using. And then you slide the race over the fork and then slide the pipe over. And then you're just going to whack it down gently and evenly until there's no gap underneath it anymore. But again, our race is built in, so we don't need that. So next, before we install the bearings, we're going to put a little grease on the races of the frame and the race on the fork. Now this is just going to make the bearing install better, not seize up in there. This isn't the actual grease that the bearings are rolling on. Now the bearings go taper side in, and they should go in with just hand pressure. If you do need to use more force, you can use a block of wood and a hammer. Just tap gently so you don't damage anything. It should go in fairly easy. I'm doing this install outside of my bike stand. Because growing up I never had a bike stand, so this is how I put headsets in. And actually it works pretty good because it puts pressure on the fork and it keeps everything together while you're installing everything else. Okay, so when you slide the fork in, it should slide all the way in with ease. And if you don't have a bike stand, I would recommend doing this video first and then putting in the bars and the seat. And then I would flip the bike over and assemble the rest of it. Okay, so next we're going to drop in our top bearings, tapered side in, and then our compression cap, again tapered side in. It'll fit right inside the bearing. Then our cap spacer to keep the cap from rubbing on the frame. And then our headset cap. Okay, now that the headset is installed, it's time to pre-fit our stem. Now there's some lines on this fork where we can cut it, and the top cap. So we can actually run it down more if we wanted to, and then cut the fork. During this step I usually try different spacer sizings and stuff like that to see where I actually want the fork to sit. Now I kind of like it right there. And we could cut the fork. But this bike is for my cousin. And he might run a gyro, he's not sure. So for now we're going to leave the fork whole. We're just going to spacer it up and put the stem on. If I cut the fork at a later date, I'll make a video of it and I'll put it in the Hitmain build playlist. Once you have your stem on, make sure that the fork does not come all the way to the top ridge of the stem. You don't want your stem bolt hitting your fork. You want just a little bit of gap between that so that it holds compression. And then all that's left to do is screw in our stem bolt using a 6mm Allen wrench for this one. Now we're not going to tighten the side stem down yet. We're just going to tighten the stem bolt. We'll do that when we put the bars on and the tire and we can line everything all up. Okay, well that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching. The next video in this series will be the installation of the tires, tubes, wheels, and chain. If you like what you saw, you can go ahead and subscribe and I'll keep the videos coming. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can comment below or you can send me a message. Thank you.